Art Museum by Hakeem Witherspoon, Interior Design 140, in semester fall 2015. Here we have the Beaumont Tower. I present to you the Beaumont Tower in North Neighborhood. I chose this building because the museum location is in North Neighborhood. I thought it would be interesting to present on the Beaumont Tower that it's in North Neighborhood as well. The Beaumont Tower elements. When it comes to architecture, elemental styles of this tower, the first thing I would like to talk about is the lines. The lines in this structure tend to be straight, going in a vertical direction. Vertical lines mean to be stable, dignified, and permanent. Secondly, when it comes to this architecture, another element that initially stuck out to me was space. The space of the structure was positive and negative in my perspective. The point of this structure indicates that how it is half empty and half full. The Beaumont Tower principles. When it comes to the architecture principle style of this tower, the first thing I would like to talk about is the proportion. The proportion in this structure tend to meet an equilibrium. The side of the structure is balanced and it compensates with the space, creating an aesthetic support in my perspective. Secondly, when it comes to this architecture, another principle that initially stuck out to me was balance. The balance of this structure was absolutely formal. Because of the symmetrical lines, it gave the art steadiness. Here are some Beaumont Tower comparisons, which are actually called turrets. These turrets are like symbolic, like basically old versions of the building of the Beaumont Tower itself. They're just older versions, and the Beaumont Tower is just actually tower, and turrets are actually towers as well. They're just more of a medieval time. Here we have the Broad Art Museum. Secondly, I have the Broad Art Museum in North Neighborhood as well. The Broad Art Museum elements. When it comes to the elements of this structure, two of the same things strike as well, which will be lines and space. Lines in this structure are vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. In this case, we have straight lines and angle lines. These combo of lines all allows you to see peace, stability, and movement all at the same time. The Broad Art Museum elements. Then you have space. The design of space required to be empty because if space would have been positive, then it would have destroyed the combination of the art itself. Too much would have taken place. And I believe that it probably would have affected the I don't know how to say this, but the structure of the building itself. Now it's time for the Broad Art Museum principles. The proportion of this structure is indicating a little awareness, but it surprisingly fits. This size of the building compensates with the space, allowing the structure to be proportional. Therefore, the design does create an aesthetic position, even though the design itself is extremely futuristically different. Then, we have the Broad Art Museum principles considering the balance. The balance of the structure is indicating extreme support. And now we have the Broad Art Museum in LA comparison. I believe this picture actually shows a lot of, still in a futuristic times, as well in a bigger city. The building actually looks almost like the Broad Art Museum that we have here. And it's actually the Broad Art Museum in LA. So, and with this picture, there's a lot of different patterns, a lot of different, there's straight lines, there's angled lines, diagonal lines, there's horizontal lines, and there's a lot of patterns that you see here. So there's a lot of complexity within the structure itself. Now it's time for the overall evaluation. Overall, the Broad Art Museum does not fit into the North Neighborhood alongside the Beaumont Tower. Within the architecture of these two buildings, they have some type of comparison when it comes to vertical lines. When it comes to vertical lines in similar proportion. And then also I'd like to add, overall, the Broad Art Museum is too up to date for the North Neighborhood. The Broad Art Museum as a whole is too complex in design. Not saying that the Beaumont Tower isn't a good piece of art, but it's too simple when it comes to comparison. Thank you for your time and have a great day.